Okay, this is from Quora, 7 years ago. What aspects of Scientology are cult-like? Is Scientology a cult, a religion, or just fake? Cameron Crest, former Scientologist and Sea Org member, 30 plus years of experience. You guys know what I think. Scientology is a cult by definition. Cult, a small religious group, I don't think they're all religious, that is not part of a larger and more accepted religion, and that has beliefs regarded by many people as extreme or dangerous. I want to know where this definition came from. I was raised in it from the age of 2, so he's a Scientology child. So that, I'm guessing, because he was 30 plus years, maybe he got out when he was young, we can hope, and spent well over a decade as a volunteer in their highest religious order, known as the Sea Org. It's actually, I'm just going to interject, that's the most slave-like, indentured servant section of Scientology. In my opinion, it's well documented. There are many core beliefs in Scientology, but I will focus on the basic core belief that is a cult-like and dangerous. It's not about space aliens either. A quick note on the space alien belief. Most Scientologists have no idea about the whole intergalactic warlord story, released in 1967 as an upper level of Scientology. Do you guys wonder what L. Ron Hubbard allegedly was taking at that time? In the middle of the hippie era. As an upper level of Scientology scripture called OT3, Scientologists are even given the false idea that if they read this material before completing the previous OT levels 1 and 2, they could get sick and die. That is why they publicly deny it. A lot of them don't know either. Don't want to talk about it, or walk out of interviews on TV, etc. Despite all the hype about the OT3 materials being confidential and dangerous to look at, 10 years later, 1977, L. Ron Hubbard made the story into a screenplay with the intent of releasing it publicly, hoping to cash in on the popularity of Star Wars, released in theaters the same year. He couldn't sell the story to Hollywood. Big surprise. Now, Scientologists pay dearly to hear it on OT3. Isn't this also the level where you get a lot of mental breakdowns, psychosis? I think that's when they start auditing the Thetans. The space alien doctrine is something members learn several years after starting as a Scientologist, and most appear to embrace it. By that time, it doesn't seem as far-fetched, because they're heavy under the mind control already. Having recalled many past lives and fantastic scenarios on their journey through auditing, by child auditors. Embracing the space alien story only helps them solidify their core belief. The basic core belief in Scientology that is cult-like and dangerous. Scientologists believe that Scientology is vital to themselves, mankind, and the universe, and its success here on Earth, right now, is more important than anything. Why this is extreme and dangerous. Scientologists actively keep themselves and the public in the dark about any bad news by their own belief of how important Scientology is. Tarnishing Scientology's image and hurting it is the worst crime a Scientologist could be accused of. Scientology could do no wrong. Well, then I guess little Davey's in trouble, don't you guys think? Real problems and issues caused by Scientology are overlooked by members and authorities for the greater good, all in the name of protecting Scientology's image. Scientology's extreme policies on its importance makes it vilify its critics to the point that it figuratively blinds its members. Any complaints, no matter how legitimate, are seen as attacks in the eyes of its members. Keeping Scientology working, KSW, as it's called in Scientology, is a written policy. Every Scientologist reacts at the beginning of every course they take in Scientology, which will give you an idea of the mindset of a real Scientologist. When somebody enrolls, consider he or she has joined for the duration of the universe. Never permit an open-minded approach. If they're going to quit, let them quit fast. If they enrolled, they're aboard. And if they're aboard, they're here on the same terms as the rest of us, win or die in the attempt. Never let them be half-minded about being Scientologists. Mind you, this is for children and adults that, Blacktooth is talking about. The proper instruction attitude is, you're here, so you're a Scientologist. Now we're going to make you into an expert auditor, like a kid. No matter what happens, we'd rather have you dead than incapable. We're not playing some minor game in Scientology. It isn't cute or something to do for lack of something better. The whole agonized future of this planet, every man, woman, and child on it, and your own destiny for the next endless trillions of years depends on what you do here and now with and in Scientology. Guilt much? Obligation much? This is a deadly seriously activity, and if we miss getting out of the trap now, we may never again have another chance. Remember, this is our first chance to do so in all the endless trillions of years of the past. Their indoctrination leads them to hide the unthinkable. They are told through their own doctrine that your own destiny for the next endless trillions of years depend on what you do here and now with and in Scientology. They believe this unquestioningly. They feel their eternity is at stake. This is the basis for reasoning by Scientology executives for keeping deaths, bluicides, child neglect, and molestation quiet among its own members and in the media. And ironically, all those same folks are coming out now trying to be the leader of all the former Scientologists or people speaking out on the abuses. Weird. You guys should know when I say weird, it's sarcasm. Most Scientologists don't hear about these things, and if they do, they mentally shut them off or even label them as lies or attacks. Like a hate crime, like a hate crime, like a hate crime. They even have a whole list of technical labels for bad information with policies explaining why it's a bad idea to read or look at black PR, and theta, enemy lines, etc. You guys, wouldn't you love to read all this stuff on YouTube? You know they try to copyright people, but it needs to just be out. It just needs to be out. Because clearly we can see the authorities and certain agencies aren't going to do anything. Almost like they created this stuff. Anyone bringing these things to light is cast aside and not to be associated with, no matter how horrible the story is. Efforts are made to keep these occurrences quiet to protect Scientology's image. Such naysayers are officially labeled a suppressive person, or SP for short. They are not to be associated with, and members who are connected to them are threatened with the same label unless they agree to disconnect from them. This has destroyed many, many families. This is why former members have such a hard time getting through to Scientologists with bad information, regardless of how much evidence they provide. When discovered, bad information is often rationalized and justified by Scientologists using this extreme core belief. I even told a close relative that Scientology's leader, David Miscavige, actually physically beats his own staff. Well, I mean, and let's not forget the children getting beaten right now. Fuck David Miscavige. But the little children, the babies, the little ones that are getting beaten right now, what about them? You're an adult, you should be able to handle yourself. Actually physically beats his own staff, and that numerous people confirm it independently. He turned to me and said, okay, let's say he does. You and I aren't there. We don't know the circumstances that brings it about. That's what you call minimizing, for anyone who didn't know. I should know. I've gone through it enough. He, David, has a tremendous responsibility. Oh, poor Davy. Just look at the importance of what's at stake if we don't make it, and he really meant it. He believed that the leader of Scientology hitting someone and physically assaulting them must have been for a really, really good reason, and it was trivial compared to the importance of Scientology. I got my own thoughts privately, but I don't think I should say them here. Why do Scientologists believe this? They initially don't. Anyone just starting in Scientology doesn't truly believe what they read in KSW at the start. Even as a kid, reading it at age 11 for the first time, I was struck by how weird the statement seemed. It's because it's mind control. It's written a certain way on purpose. But my parents believed it, or I thought they did. It takes reading it over and over in subsequent courses for it to sink in. Yeah, for the mind control to take effect. Backed up by real or imagined gains they get from Scientology courses and services, it can take years for someone to adopt its doctrine fully as a belief. Watch the news lately? Scientologists start out by taking courses or reading books that contain a lot of agreeable common sense principles. I'm referring to things like auditing, literally listening to people. That's interrogation. It's interrogation. And positive postulates, thinking positively. That's that uptone stuff. These are further broken down into many subparts, and whole several volumes of information exist on the proper way to audit, especially the child auditors. to people alone, like adults, to listen to adults alone or kids. See the omission again? It's always the same. They even use a device called an e-meter to assist an auditor in listening to someone. That's just measuring like the beads of sweat on your hand and the nerve impulses. It can feel like if you're nervous or not. Anyone who's really smart in Scientology knows how to make the needle float. Think of Happy Puppies or something. People spend years in training, like kids, to become a high-level auditor. Literally one who listens. Hold on. I'm going to do that at the end of the video because I don't want to lose my place. It's all glorified and codified common sense. It's no secret that listening to someone is therapeutic. I've been saying that. My kids get readily upset when I don't hear them out. People want to be heard. Having someone you can talk to who will really listen and truly understand you is pretty amazing. Yeah, like children like to be listened to. They're often called best friends in the real world. Those are hard to find. So it's no surprise these auditing principles can work for some people. At a cost. This is what Scientologists defend. This is what they point to when they feel they are being attacked by thousands of former members and media exposing horrible things that are actively covered up, which they know little or nothing about. I think a lot of Scientologists and former Scientologists know a lot more than they let on. Not all of them. But when you have policies to make children adults in small bodies, when all of Flag Base is staffed with children cleaning the hotels, doing the executives' laundry, some of them being in the Sea Org, all those child auditors at Flag, there's no way that the majority of these Scientologists are not aware of the abuse of the children. Either they're actively perpetrating or participating in the abuse, or they are witness to it. That's my opinion. The Scientology bubble. Scientology lies to its members about expansion and membership numbers. What other kind of units lie about their numbers, you guys? Don't we hear about this from a lot of police departments? So that's how they get their funding. I'm just saying. It paints a picture of expansion and growth for the world and its internal members. Members who stay will even tell you the lies as fact. We are expanding more than ever in history, or there are millions of Scientologists. Existing members have great experiences using basic Scientology techniques, and so unwittingly defend its less than admirable activities, which they know little or nothing about. But there are other measures firmly in place that keep Scientologists from looking. For instance, even looking at my answer here on Quora can get a Scientologist into trouble. They would have to consciously withhold it in their next auditing session as a bad deed. You see how the mind control is built in? They also publish statements like, only the pure of heart can see the emperor's new clothes in the form of suppressive people can't get any gain from auditing, which keeps people quiet and lying to each other about getting gains from auditing even when they're not. Other dangerous Scientology beliefs. Scientologists believe that the spirit alone can save or heal the body. All sickness stems from being connected to some form of suppression. I was sharing with you guys the other day how when I was in the military, they really looked down on you if you were sick or if you were injured. Interesting, right? Sick people are a potential source of trouble. They even call them potential trouble sources, or PTS. Scientologists are very powerful and responsible. If something bad happens to you, it's your own fault, like getting ARD as a kid. And you need to take responsibility for having let it happen to you. You pulled it in, and you should look inward, even though you're 5, and discover how you can be cause over your own condition. Well, apparently that cop he looked like he wanted to strangle Lara. He was shaking his hands really hard. Apparently, he needs to look inward. Don't you guys think? Scientology is a bunch of tools to keep you looking at yourself as the real reason and solution for your problems. All drugs are bad. This even includes fever reducers and antihistamines. Drugs should never be taken unless it's an emergency. They are really just a money-grabbing scam. Imagine that. What is that old saying? Kettle calling, it's the other kettle black or something like that? That are harmful, and only vitamins and Scientology methods should be used to overcome sickness. Apparently the vitamins didn't work for Hubbard. I'm just saying. Most doctors, except Scientologist doctors, of course, are in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. They call all of them Big Pharma. Scientology is not the only one that calls that system that. And accuse them of having infiltrated the medical profession to make doctors suggest and prescribe people drugs. The beliefs above combine to form the belief that high-level Scientologists never get sick. Bullshit. I know OT8s that get sick. Many Scientologists hide their sickness, just like they do in the military. Many Scientologists also die from cancer and other causes that could be avoided by way of visiting a doctor, which are viewed as evil to a greater or less degree. I once held this belief. My mother was a victim of this belief and died way too early. All psychiatrists and psychologists are evil incarnate. I guess except for the ones that were prescribing L. Ron Hubbard his drugs, right? It's all public knowledge now. It's on the record. They call them psychs, and they are more than a profession. They are responsible for the decline of civilization, past and present. They even believe they are bent on death and destruction on this planet and other planets in the galaxy. All allegedly created from L. Ron Hubbard, who was a big admirer of Aleister Crowley. And Aleister Crowley allegedly called himself the Beast. But I've never been able to verify that one. I've never been able to verify that. Anyone who criticizes Scientology is a criminal, and they have crimes that can be easily discovered. Everyone is an immortal being who has lived many lifetimes. Like 7-year-old girls. Children are old beings in small bodies. They should be treated as such. Henceforth, the pedophile problem. You can get superpowers by doing the upper levels of Scientology. Nothing is promised, but many Scientologists claim to have heightened abilities relating to being cause over matter, energy, space, and time. Too bad they wouldn't have realized they already had that before they paid all that money for it. Not a single Scientologist, like a kid, has ever been able to prove beyond a doubt that they have superpowers, even when they believe it to be true. They are trapped in a position of defending the oddity of what they believe and quickly label questions about it as attacks. Like a hate crime. Subject to a constant barrage of lies by Scientology yearly events that tout expansion, unprecedented growth, and other grand claims of success that can easily be debunked by driving by one of their regular churches on any given day. They are all nearly empty. The few people you do see are the volunteer staff. Like kids. Hope this answers anyone's questions. I am available for conversation on the subject with anyone still in or out. Crest WS, so CRESTWS.com/contact. It's very nice of him. Very, very good post. A very good post. So I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.